I think one of the things I mentioned is to bring some of your favorite poems or jokes or songs, sayings of Baba or other writers, or one of your personal experiences that was kind of important or transformative for you, or you could say you're coming to Baba. Anyway, anything that you want to share would be great. And so I don't know if I should start out, but it would be nice if some of you guys. Mine is the thing I'm going to share is a little bit kind of medium length. But anybody want to venture out?
Yeah, I can share some, Jeff.
Yeah.
There's something we all know, but I just thought I love this so much. I'll share with you all. Baba says, do all for me. This is a quote of Baba's. Do all for me. The less you think of yourself and the more you think of Baba, the sooner the ego goes and Baba remains. When your ego goes away entirely, I'm one with you. So bit by bit, you have to go. Today your nose, tomorrow your ears, then your eyes, your hands, everything. So better think of me when you eat, sleep, see, or hear. Enjoy all. Don't discard anything, but think it is Baba. Baba who enjoys, Baba who is eating. It is Baba sleeping soundly. And when you wake up, remember it is Baba getting up. Keep this one thought constantly with you. If you do wrong, then think Baba is doing wrong. If you get a pain, think it is Baba having a pain. If you do all this sincerely, you will know something. Try to forget yourself and do all for Baba. Jai Baba.
Beautiful. You know, that one line in there, when you do wrong, think Baba is doing wrong. You know, some people kind of react to that. But one time we had one of these sessions, I don't know if it was uh, effort and grace, but one person came on. I think since it was being recorded, I think it's fine for her to say. But Laura Smith, who works at the bookstore in Myrtle Beach, connected with Sherry Art Press, she, back when she was young, she was addicted to drugs. And around that time, I don't know if it was the same exact message, but it was a message where when you think that it's Baba doing things. And so she said, okay, is Baba taking this drug? And she did that, and she said that she got through her whole addiction much faster than if she had done it in isolation from Baba. In fact, one day she was walking along during this when she was doing this, it's Baba who's taking this drugs. She heard this voice that says, go through that door over there. She had no idea what it was, and so she went over through the door, and it was a Narcotics Anonymous group, and that's what got her out of drugs altogether. So even something like that, when you do wrong, think Baba is doing wrong. I don't know if that's the exact wording. Incredible. But even that works. Not that we want to just go off and do wrong and everything, but anyway.
Jay Baba, I found a small picture of myself. I never remember sitting next to Muhammad Damas, but I must have been sitting next to him. There I am. And I was a little bit intimidated by him because I knew he was like on the plains. And, to me, that's like a wild creature. You can't predict what might happen. But anyway, I I went with a group one time with Bao Kalchuri, and Bao was introducing us to Muhammad. And I don't know what, someone in the group, you can't please everyone, someone in the group, when I was introduced, this Muhammad, this is Rosalie. And this person said, not Rosalie, that's crazily. And all of a sudden, Muhammad was talking, and I guess Marathi, but Minu Barucha was there, and he translated, and he said I was only half crazy.
Oh, good.
I would say so. That's my name dropping. Anyway, I would tell about another incident, but I'll wait till later.
Okay.
With Muhammad.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else want to venture out?
Tony. Jai Baba, Tony.
Okay, Tony.
Hey, Baba. I was really happy when I saw the subject for tonight because something just happened on Thursday that I can share tonight. A little background: I watch a lot of these Baba videos, and there's a wonderful talk by Bernice Ivory at that's my dog Erico. There's a wonderful talk by Bernice Ivory at Myrtle Beach. And part of it had been missing, and they've reconstituted. It's a wonderful talk, and among other things, she talks about she had 3 children, and altogether though between adopted and foster care, she had 14. And I was close. I felt very close to Bernice from really the year I first came to Baba, and all throughout my life until she passed away. Now, that may seem to have nothing to do with what's going to follow, but it will. So on Wednesday night, I like to watch stories on TV. I'm a story junkie. I write, and I love to absorb different stories. And I was watching some story on Apple TV, and it suddenly said, your internet, your wireless is gone. And that never happens. It's not supposed to happen. The TV, the cable TV, which is part of the wireless, was working, and I was really pissed off at Spectrum. Okay, now I didn't know there had just been some major sunspot activity, and it was just hitting the Earth around then, and the biggest blast came at about 7 a.m. I didn't know about this, but I was asleep. And I woke up, and suddenly I had pains everywhere. I'm on my abdomen, the chest, down to the bladder, up to here, and it was really frightening. And my family doctor died a few months back unexpectedly, and I didn't know what to do. We were going to call the emergency 911, but then I'd have to go alone because I've got an autistic stepdaughter. My wife couldn't leave. I didn't want to go. So we stretched it out a bit, and then suddenly at about 7 o'clock, it passed. And we got to an urgent care facility, and they were really excellent. They were really very good. I think there was an infection, and they gave me an antibiotic. And so we got back home, and Zeke was doing some art here, my wife. And once again, the internet went out in the house. And this is, damn Spectrum. Why do they always do that? You pay a lot for this service, and it's always going. Well, okay, that was fine. I let it go. It came back. And that night, we were watching some story that we like. And right in the middle of the story, everything stopped. And it said no internet. So I called Time Warner. Spectrum, and I got through to a person, and I explained the situation, and I sounded probably pretty pissed off about it. And she said, well, let's see what we can do with that. And she had a wonderful energy, and she started talking me through the thing, and at some point there was something about her that was so uplifting, and at some point, and even her voice had a quality that was very familiar. Her name was Lenitria. I asked her name because I wanted to remember this. I've never had customer service like that. And at one point I said to her, she's instructing me how to turn off one modem and turn on the router and whatever. And I said, I'm really glad you know what you're doing, because I don't know anything about this. And she said, no, we're doing this together. She says, teamwork makes the dream work. And she was just so uplifting. And at one point, and I started repeating it, I wanted to remember that. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I said, I love that you're saying that. I said, I was sick today, and I've been on, they put me on antibiotics, but I've been feeling down. You're doing more for me than the drugs they gave me at this urgent care center. And at some point, the thought struck me, she really reminds me a lot of Bernice Ivory. And I was going to say something, but then I thought, because it's an African-American name, Lenitria, and Bernice Ivory is sort of, and I don't know, I thought maybe it's going to sound like a ethnic or racial comment. So I wasn't sure if I should say anything. But no sooner did I have this thought that she said to me, I have 3 children and 14 grandchildren. So I told her, I said, I wasn't going to tell you this, but you remind me so much of this person who was so dear to me, and I was very close to, and she had 3 natural children, and between adoption and foster care, she had 14 children, and I said, you remind me of her, and you have been so uplifting. And at some point she said, all right, but now check to see if the TV's working. And I went back, I checked, the TV was working. I said, whoa. I said, we definitely have a friend in common. You could feel her spirituality. I said, we definitely have a friend in common. I said, like that Tuck and Patty song, Friends in High Places. And she said, yep, absolutely. And God bless you, and God bless you. And I hung up, and I realized, I got a phone call from Spectrum, but I didn't know it was Spectrum, for me to give feedback on the call. And I didn't. And I thought, they left me a message, and so I found a way to get back to Spectrum, talk to someone else, explain the situation. He put records on my file, and then he transferred me to a supervisor where I could leave a message and tell him that this was by far the absolute best customer service I had had from anybody in any company ever. And I gave her name, and hopefully it gets back to her. But it was, Baba lifted me so much. Up until that moment, I was still feeling dragged down by being so sick, and it was frightening. And there was more healing because of that, just because of that. And it was wonderful. And that's the story I get to share because of the timing of this.
Yeah. Beautiful, Tony. Yeah,
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, that's awesome. Customer service is all about just connecting with people. That's so amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Oh.
Lenita next.
Baba, everyone. Well, I don't have any story at the moment. My life is very boring right now, except the times when I'm working at the center, cleaning cabins. It's a little bit more exciting. Well, I'd like to sing a song, if it's okay. It's okay, Jeff?
Sure. More than welcome.
Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. So it's a short song from Tagore and Kathy Raleigh. Words from Tagore and music from Kathy Raleigh. Touch me with your fire, oh Lord. Burn and purify my life. Touch me with your fire. song be the oil that feeds the flame. Lift my body, make a temple lamp. Let my song be the oil that feeds the flame. Oh, touch me with your fire, oh Lord. Burn and purify my life. Touch me with your fire, oh Lord. Purify me. In the core of darkness, there's bloom forth from your touch. In my agony of flame, rise into heaven. In the core of darkness, stars bloom from your touch. In my agony of flame, rise into heaven. Oh, touch me with your fire, oh Lord. Burn and purify my life. Touch me with your fire, oh Lord. Burn and purify me.
Beautiful, Lenita.
Jai Baba. Thank
That's
you.
Tagore, right? Rabindranath Tagore.
Yes, Tagore
Yeah.
and Kathy.
Hey, Baba.
Very lovely, yeah.
You want to go for the next hand up?
I think
It's,
looks like Dinku. Oh.
yeah, Dinku. Yeah, Jai Baba Dinku.
Jai Baba, everyone. I don't have a song or a story, but my most favorite Baba quote is things which are real are given and received in silence. I think for me, it touches the heart in the sense that, it's all about the ego. We don't brag about what we do. We just do it silently. And, I don't know. It's just very, very dear and close to me. That's just what I wanted to say. It's eradicating the ego.
Yeah, that quote is at Baba's tomb, and it's also here in the lagoon cabin at the center. Things that are real are given and received in silence. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dinku. I have something that's that is semi-long. It's an impatient letter to all of us from God. Now, this is written by a guy named Bozo Lozov, and he worked in the prisons. He wrote a book called We're All Doing Time, and his whole thing was to convert your prison cell into a meditation cell. But he wrote this thing for on the occasion of Christmas, Jesus' birth. But this is what he writes. I hope you can you hear me okay? So here it is, an impatient letter to all of us from God. Date, eternity, from God to my children on earth, regarding idiotic religious rivalries. My dear children, and believe me, that's all of you. I consider myself a pretty patient guy. I mean, look at the Grand Canyon. It took millions of years to get it right. And I've been patient through your fashions, civilizations, wars, and schemes, and the countless ways you take me for granted until you get yourself in trouble again and again. But on this occasion of my son Jesus' birthday, I want to tell you about some things that are starting to tick me off. First of all, your religious rivalries are driving me up the wall. Enough already. Every religion claims there's only one of me, which, by the way, is absolutely true. But in the very next breath, each religion claims it's my favorite one, and each claims its Bible was the only one written by me. Let's get one thing straight. These are your religions, not mine. I'm the whole enchilada, the spirit behind them all. I'm your father and mother, and I don't play favorites among my children. Also, I hate to break it to you, I don't write. My longhand is awful, and I've always been more of a doer anyway. So all your books, including your Bibles, were written by inspired, remarkable people. But they also made mistakes here and there. I made sure of that. You see, I want you to trust your inner connection with me more than anything else. Holy books are sacred and powerful, but they were only meant to steer you inside yourself, not to keep you arguing with each other. One human being to me, even a bum on the street, is worth more than all the holy books in the world. That's just the kind of guy I am. My spirit is not a historical thing. It's right here, right now, as fresh as your next breath. Which brings me to your next nonsense. You act like I need you and your religions to stick up for me or win souls. For my sake, please don't do me any favors. I can stand quite well on my own, thank you. And another thing, I don't get all worked up over money or politics, so stop dragging my name into your dramas. For example, I never threatened Oral Roberts. I never rode in one of Rajneesh's Rolls Royces. I never told Pat Robertson to run for president, and I've never ever had a conversation with Jim Baker or Jerry Falwell. Of course, come Judgment Day, I certainly intend to. One thing is, the thing is, I want you to stop thinking of religion as a sort of loyalty pledge to me. The true purpose of religion is for you to become more aware of me, not the other way around. Believe me, I know you already. I know what's in each of your hearts, and I love you with no strings attached. Lighten up and enjoy me. That's what religion is for. What you seem to forget is how mysterious I am. You look at the petty differences in your scriptures and you say, well, if this is the truth, then that can't be. But instead of trying to figure out my paradoxes and subtleties, which, by the way, you never will, why not focus on the simple, unarguable fundamentals? You know what I'm talking about. Love and respect everyone. Be kind. Even when life is scary or confusing, take courage, for I am always with you. Learn how to be quiet, to hear my still small voice. I don't like to shout. Leave the world a better place by living with dignity and gracefulness. Simple stuff. Why do you keep making it so complicated? Do you think I care whether you call me Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Meher Baba, Brahma, Father, Mother, the Void, or Nirvana? Do you think I care which of my special children you feel closest to? Jesus, Mary, Buddha, Krishna, Ram, Muhammad, or any of the others? They all live in one place, my heart, and they get along perfectly. I assure you, stop creating a myth of sibling rivalry where there is none. Just go about my business of loving one another as I love you. How can you keep forgetting something so simple? You don't have to abandon your religions or combine them into one big mess. Enjoy your religions, honor them, learn from them, just as you should enjoy, honor, and learn from your parents. But do you walk around telling everyone that your parents are better than theirs? Like your parents, your religion may always have a special place in your heart. I don't mind that at all. And each religion is unique for a reason. Each approaches my great mystery in its own way. But religions are not football teams, so please drop your childish, we're number one attitude. The world has grown too small for religious narcissism. The whole planet is connected by air travel, satellite dishes, telephones, fax machines, diseases, rock concerts, and mutual needs and concerns. Get with it. If you really want to celebrate the birthday of my son Jesus, then begin figuring out how to feed your hungry, clothe your poor, and shelter your homeless. Just as important, make your own everyday life a shining example of kindness and good humor. I've given you all the resources you need if you only abandon your fear of each other and begin living, loving, and laughing together. As I love Jesus, so do I love each of you. I'm not really ticked off. I just wanted to grab your attention because I hate to see you suffer. After giving you free will, what can I do now other than trying to influence you through reason, persuasion, and a little bit of manipulative guilt? After all, I'm the original Jewish mother. I just want you should be happy. I'll sit in the dark. I really am, indeed, I swear, with you always. Trust me, your one and only God. I don't know if you guys heard that, but
Yes, yes,
Hey,
yes.
Baba.
Hey, Baba,
Wow.
brilliant, brilliant,
Jeff,
brilliant.
that was wonderful.
Yes,
Where's
thank
that
you.
from?
it's this guy named Bo Lozoff. He comes to the center, he and his wife, and he has a kind of a spiritual center up in the Chapel Hill area. He did. But that kind of covers a lot of the
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
religious rivalries.
yes. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is him on Google. On Google Wikipedia. Apparently, he passed away in 2012.
Yeah.
Oh,
He got in a motorcycle accident
mm,
and died.
Wow.
Yeah.
lovely, Jeff.
Okay.
There is Diane and Terry next. Jai Baba.
Well, this is kind of a similar theme, something a little long and a little outside of the box. I've read it before at Arti. I don't think ever here. My brain and heart divorced a decade ago over who was to blame about how big of a mess I have become. Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other. Now my head and heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week and my heart gets me on weekends. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week. And their notes they send to one another always says the same thing. This is all your fault. On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down in the past. And on Wednesdays, my head lists all the times my heart has screwed things up for me. In the future, they blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So lately, I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist most nights. I sneak out of the window in my rib cage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair that's always open for me. And I just sit until the sun comes up. Last evening, my gut asked me if I was having a hard time being caught between my heart and my head. I nodded. I said I didn't know if I could live with either of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that happened yesterday, while my head is always worried about something that may happen tomorrow. I lamented. My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with my mistakes of the past and my anxiety about the future. I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should go stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you are exhausted about your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focused on the uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There is no tomorrow there either. There is only now. There is only inhale. There is only exhale. There is only this moment. There is only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and your head work their relationship out. This morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves, and while my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed a little bag and walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile, and as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?"
Beautiful. Where did you find that?
That is written by a gentleman named John Rodell, Roedel.
Wow.
JohnRodell.com.
Thank you.
That was
good.
great, Diane. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Jeff, I see no hands, but I have a joke if it's okay to share.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did share before, but we all can laugh again. So here it is. This is a story that I believe, Baba's brother shared with Baba. This is about the Indian chief who was constipated. An Indian chief, I guess this Indian is Indian chief who was constipated. So what happens is the chief sends one of his warriors to the witch doctor to get some medicine. The warrior goes to the doctor and says, "Big chief, no shit." The doctor gave him one pill and told him the chief should be fine tomorrow. The warrior went back to the chief and gave him the pill. The next morning, the warrior was sent back to the witch doctor and says, "Big chief, no shit." The doctor gives him 5 pills and tells him to give them to the chief. The next day, the warrior appears at witch doctor's house yet again, saying, "Big chief, no shit." The doctor gets annoyed and so gives the warrior the whole bottle of pills to give to the chief. The next day, the warrior goes back to the witch doctor and he says, "Big shit, no chief." I mean, it's funny that people could share this with Baba, and then Baba, I'm sure, had a great laugh after this.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Jal, I guess, shared that.
Yeah, I mean, after Baba would be doing some work in seclusion and everything, he would call Jal to come and entertain him with jokes, just to relax after the work.
Next is Marian, Jai Baba Marian.
Jai Baba, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Wonderful, wonderful stories. So I'm sharing something that I have shared in the New York Meher Baba House many, many years ago. So somebody may have heard this. So it's a story, an experience that I had. And a preface to it is that I learned many, many years ago, like in 1971, from a teacher. He was a psychiatrist and medical doctor, but he had the facility of seeing the aura. And I used to transcribe some of his little for some of his little booklets that went in his doctor's office. And I learned back then about energy. It began my energy studies. And that is that to never pull a toy or a blanket away from a child because they wrap their energy body around it and it would hurt them physically, not just psychologically. So I learned that very on as I was studying about energy and the energy body and how it works. So that is a precursor to moving forward into the 90s, probably the mid 90s. I was in bed here in my apartment sleeping, and I had a dream. And in the dream, I was in like an office, like a waiting room, and other people were around, and it was a lovely place. And there were 2 little wild baby bear cubs running around. And someone said, "Well, those are yours." And I said, no. And they said, "Yeah, they're yours. They belong to you. You have to take care of them." And so I said, "But when I leave here, I live in an apartment in New York City. I can't take care of 2 little baby bear cubs." And so I was so agitated that I came out of the dream, but I was in that lucid dreaming state. So I knew I was in my bedroom, but I was also in that dream, both. And I was so upset that I didn't know what to do. And I thought, I can't fully awake because I have to resolve this about these two little baby bear cubs. And so I thought, I know, I'll go back into the dream. I have to resolve this. And I start drifting back in the dream, and Baba appears in front of me, his face, his shoulders, right in front of me, puts his arms out, and I take the two bears, which I have in my arms, and I hand them to Baba. And then Baba takes the bears. I go back to sleep, not into the dream anymore, but to sleep, fully at peace. And then later I woke up from this dream. Then I reflected on it. I had a reflection, and oh my gosh, I surrendered this to Baba. So that weekend, I was going upstate in New York City, where I was trained to teach others. And with another woman, we were in classes at our spiritual center, where we had been trained in transformational counseling work. And we were having our last weekend up there, and our students were there in the class, and we had finished. And so it was the end of the season. The students came forward and they had gifts for us. So the other woman they gave her a gift of a tote bag, because she always had so many books walking around our center up there and in Phoenicia, New York. And so they gave her this nice tote bag to put it all in. Then it was my turn to receive my gift. And there was a shopping bag there with a lot of tissue paper. And I reach in and I pull out this bear. And it's not a teddy bear, it's a wild bear, exactly like the bears in my dreams. And I burst into tears. Of course, nobody knew the story, not anyone. And plus people thought, it was such an odd, the other person got this nice tote bag and I get a bear. And so the rest of the students, they didn't know, because it was only a team of 3 people that went to the gift shop shopping for us for a gift. The other students didn't know what we were getting. So they were kind of frowning. And then I'm crying and weeping because it's exact like the 2 bears that I gave to Baba. And so then I calmed down and I told them the story, and everybody their eyes filled with tears. And they were so grateful. And then one of the 3 people who went and bought the bear had named the bear Golden Drop, a drop in God's ocean. And so I gave him a nickname, Wild Bear. So his formal name is the yellow drop, and yellow drop, and it's my wild bear. So this is so then I had that background of knowing. So I've been sleeping in this bear for all those years, since the mid-90s. And I learned from my studies that bear is infused with so much love that every time I hug wild bear, I get all this love flowing to me. So and he has a little place in his back where he can wrap his arms around me and hug me. So that's my story. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Marion.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That is wild.
Wow. And next it's going to be Tina.
Hi. Yeah, I don't know if I've told this story here before, but I'll tell it again in case somebody doesn't remember it. So
Okay, I think it's okay now.
Okay. So we had Meher Baba House in Greenwich Village back in the 70s, and we had free coffee and donuts, and so it attracted, the word got out, and it attracted some homeless people, and they stopped in for their coffee and donuts every night. So one day I was at a meeting there, and there was a large group of people. And I said, "Oh, I'm having a party next weekend and everybody's invited." And then I noticed there was a homeless person in the back. And I thought, well, I hope he doesn't show up. But of course, when I got out of the taxi with all my groceries that the night of the party, there he was sitting on my front steps, and he said, "Where's the party?" And so I had invited him. I had to let him come up. So we started, he was early, and he wanted to know if he could help me. I said, yeah, put these pretzels and potato chips in a bowl. And so I turned around, and then I turned back, and I saw he was tossing them with his filthy hands together like a tossed salad. And so I didn't say anything, but I had this neighbor, and she was an atheist, an avowed atheist, who worked for Psychology Today. And she was extremely cynical and jaded. And she was dating this much older man who was a famous director. Anyway, so she came to this party too, because she was loaning me some silverware and dishes. And so she was just appalled by these Baba lovers, especially the homeless person. She's like, these people are weird. And so the next day I went to her apartment, and I was returning the dishes and silverware, and she had her boyfriend there. And he was, very hip. He was a director, and he was in leather and had tattoos and stuff. And she said to him, this person claims to be God. And she said, and all these people are following him and actually believe that he is God in human form. And his name is Meher Baba. And he just looked at her and he said, he is God. And he took a picture of Baba out of his wallet. I'll never forget that moment. She was just appalled. Well, he died unexpectedly, and she fell into a deep depression. And so one day she jumped out the window of her apartment, and she landed on the roof of Dates Shopwell, which was a grocery store. And so she didn't die. And when I went to see her in the hospital, she's like, bring me my rosary. I want to pray. There is a God. She just had a big religious conversion. So I thought, wow, this jumping out the window knocked some sense into her. Anyway, that's my story.
Yeah. She became homeless for a while.
Yeah.
Wow, that is far out, Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
She bounced back, definitely.
She bounced back. Yeah, she had a religious conversion. She was just like such an avowed atheist. I don't know.
Jai Baba. Lovely story there. We have Diane and Terry back. Jai Baba.
Oh, well, we can't hear you. Yeah.
My collaborator was off in another room, so there was no one to unmute for me, except me. So I repeat, I may have said this story before too, but it's also like one of those good ones, Tina, that you reminded me of good stories. So as I think most of you know, I clean teeth for a living. And years ago when I had come to Baba, I had this woman who I had never seen her before. She had had a stroke, and she was walking with a walker, and we were talking, and I said to her, I said something, and she said, you're talking so loud. I'm not deaf. I just had a stroke. And I said, well, I think I always talk pretty loud, but I can make it softer if you would like. And I sit her in the chair. So she had a sense of humor, and we, became like connected. And the next, she came like every 3 months. And so as the months went on, you kind of share stuff. And I shared that I was going to India. And she said to me, what are you going to do there? And I thought, but let's see what happens. So I said, well, I said, I'm going to like an ashram where a spirit master lives that I really follow and love everything he has to say. And she said, really? And who's that? And I said, Mayor Baba. And the woman literally looked like she was going to have another stroke. And so I kind of didn't even know what to do with myself for a minute. And I said, are you okay? She said, yes, I'm okay. She said, my children are not going to believe this. I said, believe what? She said, well, my husband died 6 years ago. And he made me promise that at his funeral, I would take this like Mayor Baba flyer and put it on every seat of the people that came to the celebration of his life. And she said to me, and I have his ashes by my bed, and on the ashes is Mayor Baba's picture and what it said. And I have never heard his name in the 6 years until now. No one had ever spoken of, she just didn't run in that circle. And so she totally like flipped out. It was really an amazing experience. So I thought I'd share that,
Yeah.
Baba.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Who is her husband? Do you know?
I can't remember, honey. I probably did know, but it didn't stay.
Okay.
And we'd have to kill her if she said the name.
Yeah, I can't even do that. Yeah.
This is curious.
Yeah. You want to go to the next person, Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Rosalie now, Jai Baba Rosalie.
When I was back in California, and I was very interested in performing comedy. And if I would see a comedian, I would want to share a Baba card. So I was at it was a televised fundraiser for public television or something. And Milton Berle was there. He's an old guy. They call him the father of television. I mean, he's burlesque. But I found his comedy very put down. I didn't like the put down comedy. Anyway, so I went up to him. He was accessible. He was at the fundraiser. I don't know what I was doing there. I was just there. And I walked up and I showed him the Don't Worry, Be Happy card. And I says, do you see this card? And he took it and he looked at it, really looked. I didn't know how good or bad his eyesight was, but he really looked. I says, that helped me to laugh when it was really hard for me to laugh. And he went, it is funny. Do you want me to keep it? I said, if you want to. And he stuck it in his pocket. And I have to say, he had a comic energy. I'm an energy worker in my way. I can pick up the comic energy, and he waddled off this. I never liked his comedy, but he had a comic energy. At least 7 years later, I was a caretaker at the LA Baba Center in Little Santa Monica Boulevard. And I was pretty broke, but I had some gas in my car. And Milton Berle was giving this free workshop And I thought, well, the price is right. And I wanted to see if if he would remember that card. So I went, and I can't remember the name of the club. It's a famous comedy club, not the Comedy Store, but another one on Melrose. And he saw me in the front row, and he was doing his shtick on stage. And then he saw me and he says, "We've met before." And I said, "Yes, we have met before." And then he did his put down comedy on me. He says, "You were wearing the same dress 40 years ago." And which is not that funny, because I've worn clothes that long, because I'm not into the style thing. Anyway, so I wait till the presentation is over, and people are after his autograph, and I just stood there by him. And then I put my hand on his hand. He didn't take it away. And finally, it kind of died down for the autographs. And I says, "Yes, we have met before." And I held up the "Don't Worry, Be Happy" card, and he totally lost his cool. He went, "Who is it? Who is it?" Because I had never said Baba's name. I just showed him the card. I said, "That's Meher Baba." And he took it from me and he stuck it in his pocket. And I have a picture with him, but he wouldn't take it out. He wouldn't take it out. But he passed away the next year, so I did him a favor, I have to say. But who knows? I never said the word, but he really looked at that picture. And who knows what happened to that coat or the picture, but he took it in. And that was like, from that, for many reasons, convinced of the power of that. It's God in human form on a picture, but that's who it is. Anyway, he actually passed away the same year as Mother Teresa and Lady Diana. And yeah, anyway, that's my celebrity story.
Rosalie, tell about Lily Tomlin.
Okay. Lily Tomlin, Phyllis Frederick was given a couple of passes to monologues. It was all women doing monologues. It was Rada de la Martyr had given her these tickets, and Phyllis didn't feel well, and I took my Baba contact with me. Anyway, we're sitting in the front row. It's a small theater. It's Taper 2 or something, Taper 2. We're sitting in the front row, and the man next to me, who I didn't know, says, "You remind me of that telephone operator." And I was a little bit insulted because of all her characters, So my Baba contact says, "I have a sliver in my finger. Do you have anything do you have a needle I could get it out with?" I says, "Well, I have my Lily Tomlin button someone gave me." And it went to, it was from her picture, All of Me. It flashed from Steve back to Lily, back and forth. So she's picking her sliver out, and along comes Lily Tomlin to see the show, and she's obviously incognito. She has no makeup, dark glasses, all black, and she sees her face flashing. So she comes up to see it, and the man that thought I reminded her of, reminded me of her of me. He says, "There she is now." And maybe I wouldn't have even paid attention, but I watched her go up, and she was sitting up with her partner, Jane, way up. It's not that big a theater. So at intermission, I decided to go up and see if she remembered the card.
You didn't say you gave
it. I ruined it. Not exactly, though. The very first time I met her, I was involved in studying comedy at a club in Hollywood. It was called the Sherwood Forest Experimental. And because I was involved with this group, Lily Tomlin was coming to town, and we could interview her after her performance. And so I had to borrow $10 to go. And I was way up. It was a big theater, and she did all of her brilliant characters, one after another, just beautiful, beautiful. And actually, she would always she would namaste after each character. And so then we could come down after everyone left. And so we all came down, and I wanted to give her a Baba card. In fact, anyway, so someone gave her a present, and she opens it up, and it's a book. So I raised my hand and I says, Lily, you'll need a bookmark. So I walked up to the stage, and it was quite interesting because Carol Burnett was passing by too. And I gave it to her, and then I turned and went back to my seat, and she gave me the perfection sign. Anyway, so when I ran into her, when I went up to her at the taper 2, I said, and she was squenched down in her seat. She didn't want anyone to recognize her, so I didn't say her name. I says, hi. I says, do you remember me? And she went, and then she went, yeah, like she was going through her mental rotary file. And I said, I gave you that bookmark. Don't worry, be happy. And she leapt out of her seat, not a great, but excited. And she says, I carry that with me in my wallet. So she's flipping through her wallet and she can't find it. I said, don't worry, I'll get you another one. So I went down and brought her back another one. And then she just closed off from me. But anyway, I've seen her 6 times. And the last time I saw her, as I approached her, it was at the Lame Duck, Soup Ducks, some bookstore in Hollywood. And she was signing her book. And as I approached, she says, oh, Meher Baba. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, she is a quality comedian and she has good taste, obviously.
She had that saying, something, let's see if I can remember it. She said, I think, even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat.
Oh, I have to say one more thing with Lily. She was at the Santa Monica bookstore. I've seen her 6 times, and she would give a clip of her hair if you bought her 6 videos. And I'm standing in the line and I'm thinking, I have God's hair. I brought her a piece of that orange prasad from India, and I wrapped it in rainbow-esque see-through paper with a little gold string. Now,
a pretty girl.
It would be a little spooky, I would think, to receive something in Santa Monica like that from a stranger. So I'm in the line and I get to the front and I says, oh, hi. I says, I brought you something. I says, it comes all the way from India. I didn't say prasad, nothing like that. And then I did give her a picture of young Baba. And she goes, shall I eat it? I said, if you want to. So she took the golden thread off and popped it in her mouth. I thought it was daring. I mean, you know, because I wouldn't take that from someone. I don't know. Could have been acid, but it was more dangerous than acid. So anyway, Lily, yeah.
Wonderful.
That's my story.
Hey,
I'm waiting for the 7th time I see her.
What about Rainey? We haven't heard from Rainey.
I can't remember what the theme is. Is the theme?
It can be a poem, it can be a song, a joke, any touching story,
Okay.
whatever.
I have a touching story.
Oh,
but
hey, let me mention one thing too, is that this coming Tuesday, I've got Laurent Weichberger, and he had a lot of long time association with Don Stevens. So he's going to talk about his time with Don Stevens and a lot of the exchanges that he had with him. Don was like one of Baba's very close ones from going back to the late 40s, I think. So that should be very interesting. But Goer, I think you might be on the center.
That's right, Jeff. I'm getting ready to push off tomorrow.
And there's no Wi-Fi or anything.
Where? At the center, there's no Wi-Fi?
No, there's no Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But,
okay.
well, unless you got one of those telephones. I mean, sometimes people can get things on their cell phones. I don't know how to do it, but
well, I
anyway.
have my iPad, but I'll just have to watch it on YouTube then.
Yeah.
Catch up.
Jonathan does night duty or that, and he's able to come to our meeting on Monday night. So there's something somewhere that you can pick up. What, at Gateway?
Yeah, at the Gateway. I'm here at the Gateway.
Gateway has it.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm not on the staff, and you can get it there.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Okay. Rainey, anything you got?
Well, I thought of two things actually. One, I thought of the latest thing I just read, or the oldest thing I can think of in February, to do with my music. In February 1970, two young girls who'd been raised in Baba sang to Baba outside Baba's room at Amartithi or his birthday, I'm not sure. And they sang this little song. Can you hear me on this computer?
Yeah, I mean, if you could turn it up a little bit.
I can't. That's the problem. I can't.
Okay.
So I'll just sing loud.
Yeah.
Like I would never have had the courage to do then.
Yeah.
Every time I think of Mayher, tears come into my eyes. When I think of beloved Mayher, tears come into my eyes. Send me Mayher, one swift thought, tears come into my eyes. The world Mayher now is naught, tears come into my eyes. Every time I whisper Mayher, tears come into my eyes. Softly I whisper Mayher, Mayher, tears come into my eyes. Send me Mayher, one sweet word, tears come into my eyes. Love is not love unless shared, tears come into my eyes. Every time I dream of Mayher, tears come into my eyes. When through the night I dream of Mayher, tears come into my eyes. Come soon, Mayher, come for me, tears come into my eyes. waiting is eternity, and tears come into my eyes.
Beautiful.
And I looked at them and their innocence, and I'd spent 2 years like reading discourses and trying to fathom it all out and moving 1,000 miles to find the abode and so on. And I just looked at them and then looked past them into Baba's room and went, I want to do that. I really want to do that. And it wasn't just the singing, it was the innocence and what I felt from that life of being raised in Meher Baba and meeting him, and from these two young girls, 12 and, or like 14 and 16, I think, and the innocent way you could feel him. And so that began my long journey of not being a dancer and becoming a singer when I got to Avatar's Abode. And the other thing I wanted to share was somebody mentioned a book, and I suddenly remembered that I had a cupboard I hadn't opened for many, many years that was full of old books. And I pulled them out, and they were Divyavanis, and I remember reading them. But on the bottom of all the Divyavanis was two 1939 Meher Baba journals, June and July. And I oracled June 1939, and it came out in the middle page. Mornings of an Aching Heart by Rustem Irani.
Adi's brother?
Adi K's brother.
Yeah.
Rustem Irani. And I'll just have to put this down because it's never been opened, I don't think. And it keeps shutting. It's never been opened and it keeps closing with one hand. It's called, so from February 1970, my first big meeting at Avatar's Abode after going there in 1969, to last Thursday night and finding these two old books. I open it and Baba shows me this. Moanings of an aching heart. Deep goes the dagger. It toucheth not the heart. It gashes, it makes, yet it finisheth not. I scream and cry, stop, stop. You smile and say, here, take some more. The weary travellers trudge on, no milestones on the way. The hill is high, the path is slippery with scorching sun, falls and thorny hay. With foaming lips they drag on, yet you smile and say, run along, I know the way. O torments of the heart, where is peace? In life, worldly, or in jungle serene, in mad pursuits or in self-denials. In vague search I run hither and I run thither, and shadows all point to you alone. And you smile and say, wait. Oh, how long? I may give it to you some day. Of what use is the light when the house is down? Of what use are the rains when the men are gone? Keep your charms in your bag, O juggler divine. We need them not. Yet you smile and say, it'll be my wish and not yours, O ever dear mine.
Wow, never heard that. Boy.
Wow.
That is unique.
I opened it and it just opened in the middle because it's never been opened. And I didn't even know Rustem K.S. Irani wrote poetry, number one.
Yeah.
And there it was, just heartbreaking, right at the feet of Baba in 1939.
Beautiful.
And we have Alan. Hey, Baba Alan.
Jay Baba, hey everybody. I sort of pulled out That's How It Was, and this short little paragraph kind of stuck to me. And this is Erich saying this. Once someone said to me, Erich, aren't we kidding ourselves when we bow down to Baba's chair and pretend that he is here? And I said, yes, but this is significant kidding, because this kidding will one day make us see that we are only kidding ourselves when we say that Baba is not here. One day we will experience for ourselves the truth that Baba is always here, that nothing is really here at all except for Baba. And then we will see that we were only kidding ourselves, that Baba was not here. Jai Baba.
Beautiful. Yeah. A number of variations on that same thing that Erich would say. Someone say, who am I to serve Baba? And Erich say, who are you not to serve Baba? Yeah, just turn it around. So, have we any additional things? Let's see. Oh, Goer.
All right. So one of my father's favorite quotes of Baba was, it always comes back to me, which was, Baba always said, in life, take no risk. In business, take necessary risk. But in spirituality, take all risk. Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you repeat?
And I have a, sure. In life, take no risk. In business, take necessary risk. But in spirituality, take all risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a joke to share as well, if I may.
Sure.
I think Baba would like this one. Kind of cute. So it was autumn, and the Red Indians asked their new chief if the winter was going to be cold or mild. Since he was a Red Indian chief in a modern society, he couldn't tell what the weather was going to be. Nevertheless, to be on the safe side, he replied to his tribe that the winter was indeed going to be cold and that the members of the village should collect wood to be prepared. But also being a practical leader, after several days, he got an idea. He went to the phone booth, called the National Weather Service, and asked, is the coming winter going to be cold? It looks like this winter is going to be quite cold indeed, the weatherman responded. So the chief went back to his people and told them to collect even more wood. A week later, he called the National Weather Service again. Is it going to be very cold winter? Yes, the man at the National Weather Service again replied, it's definitely going to be a very cold winter. The chief again went back to his people and ordered them to collect every scrap of wood they could find. 2 weeks later, he called the National Weather Service again. Are you absolutely sure the winter is going to be very cold? Absolutely, the man replied. It's going to be one of the coldest winters ever. How can you be so sure? The chief asked. The weatherman replied, the Red Indians are collecting wood like crazy. So, Jai Baba.
Very good.
Oh, that's a good one.
Very good. That's a good one. Very good.
So this guy is out on the range. He comes over the hill, and he finds an Indian on the ground, lying on the ground, and he comes over, and he says, what do you hear? He says, party of 17, 3 stagecoaches, 14 cattle, and 7 children. And the he says, how are you able to pick up such, be so sensitive to pick that up? The guy says, ran over me 1/2 hour ago. Okay. Looks like Tony.
Yeah. So with all these jokes, it's reminding me of some of Harry Kenmore's jokes. I happened to walk into an after-dinner joke-telling session of jokes he told Baba one day. He had been with Baba for 60 days in India, and Baba said, for every day that you hear, I want you to tell me another joke. And he knew a lot. He had been in vaudeville when he was a kid, when he was younger. But anyway, one of his better-known jokes, which some of you may have heard, is the chicken joke. And it's kind of set like in the 1950s. And this fellow who had this pet chicken, and he really, really loved this pet chicken. And wherever he went, he always took this pet chicken with him. He was very fond of this chicken. The same man happened to really be in love with Marilyn Monroe. And every time a new Marilyn Monroe picture came out, he was the first one online to get it and see it. And sure enough, there was a new Marilyn Monroe movie. So he gets out there and he gets his money. He goes up to the ticket counter and he says, 1 ticket, please. And he's there with his chicken. And the fellow at the ticket booth looks at him and looks at the chicken. He says, no chickens allowed in this theater. He said, it's just my pet chicken. It's not a problem. I'll just say. He said, no chickens allowed in this theater. But I have to see. Next. So he doesn't know what to do. He's really torn. He can't leave his chicken at home alone. And he finally realized, okay, I'm going to get this big overcoat. I'm going to go and I'll just tuck the chicken in my pants and put the coat over and buy the ticket. He won't know. So you get there. And I say, 1 ticket, please. And the guy looks down. He doesn't see the chicken. He says, all right. And he gives him the ticket. Guy goes inside, gets a great seat, and he's sitting there. And there's Marilyn on the big screen. And he's just so smitten and so lost in it. And suddenly he's struck by conscience. My poor chicken, she's going to suffocate. So he opens up his coat and he pulls down his zipper, and it's dark in the theater, and the chicken sticks its head out. And so he's there, he's watching the movie, and there are these 2 old Jewish ladies sitting next to him. And one turns to the other and says, Emily, there's a man sitting next to me and he's exposed. And she says, so what, Sadie? You seen one? You seen them all. She said, yeah, but Emily, this one's eating my popcorn. Baba enjoyed that very much.
Very good, Tony. You remembered it well.
Yeah, you remembered it well. I loved hearing Eric tell it too. It was great.
So, any how about, have we got the last quote from Baba? Anybody? Mayor Prasad, you.
Let's see.
Or string about 3 of them together, if you can.
Okay.
I have that one also that I told today at Effort and Grace.
Yeah. Say that one first. That's a good one.
Okay. Give me 1 second of your whole existence, and I will give you more of what I have to give, and which I am giving unendingly in every ordinary and extraordinary way of me as a human, selfless servant of mankind, as love. Meher Baba.
Yeah, beautiful.
You want me to read?
Yeah.
Read one, Jeff?
And then we'll have a few moments of silence.
Okay. One of the requirements of acquiring control over thoughts is to become fully conscious of what they are. They have to be attended to before they are controlled. Jai Baba.
You got do it once again and one more too.
One of the requirements of acquiring control over thoughts is to become fully conscious of what they are. They have to be attended to before they are controlled. Remember, this is the second quote, remember that all your companions in this world will be there for only a relatively few years, while I will be your companion till the end. I am your real companion.
Beautiful. Let's have a few moments of silence. Jai Baba. So just to mention that Laurent Weisberger is going to talk about Don Stevens and many of the exchanges he's had with him, and Don had a lot of time with Baba and asked a lot of questions, so I'm hoping we'll be able to mine some gems from Don's exchanges with Baba. And so, Goer, you're coming in on Tuesday, are you?
Yes, that's right, Jeff.
How long are you staying?
2 nights, sadly.
Oh my God, because I'm off Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'll get in touch with you somehow.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any last minute, any spare change?
I have a short one I can spare change.
Yeah.
I heard Mani say that Baba is the only real jeweler. He's the only one that knows the worth of each jewel, meaning that each of us, we are internally. And she related this little episode that happened towards the end of Dr. Donkin's, well, not Dr. Donkin's, towards the end of Baba's passing away. So it should be in the last, 68 or 69. One day, apparently, Donkin, after writing Wayfarers, he was kind of behaving like a must. He became more and more unbalanced, or, kind of like a must. So towards the end, he became more and more like that. So one day Francis was kind of joking about Donkin in a friendly way, in a family, like how we joke with family members. And Baba actually encouraged Francis to do that. So Francis kept doing that. He got up to a point where he actually got into more and more of making fun of Donkin. And at one point, Baba stopped him and said, "Remember that he is better than you." And whatever Francis was, whatever that flood was, flood of pride that was coming over, Francis at that point just collapsed at that point. And he said, yes, I know that. This is what Mani said.
Beautiful. Wow.
She was saying that in the context of only Baba knows, he's the real jeweler.
Francis looked up to Donkin so much that Baba had to separate them at one point. It was getting out of hand.
There's a beautiful quote, something that Mani used to quote. I prayed to you for strength to carry out your work. You gave me weakness so I would depend on you. What a beautiful thing. Well, I think everybody on the East Coast is probably getting ready for bed. And the people on the West Coast
are ready for bed.
You can just waste waste the next couple of hours.
No, I'm ready for my walk and to do exercises.
Okay. All right. Jai Baba, much love.
Hey, Baba, everybody. See you Tuesday.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Baba.
Thank you. Bye.
Jai Baba.
Shyam. Yeah.
Jai Baba, thank you.
Jai Baba, thank you.
Jai Baba from
Jai Baba. Avatar.
Baba ki jai.
Avatar.
Meher Baba ki jai.
Avatar.
Baba ki jai.
Thank you all, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.